This is a recording of this year's Virtual Residency Fair. We'd like to take the time to thank the programs that volunteered their time to present to this year's applicants. This year's PM&R Scholars Virtual Residency Fair is supported by PM&R Recap and Ultrasound Guidance. PM&R Recap is the leading resource for your physiatry board preparation, clinical preparation, audition rotations, and beyond. PM&R Recap offers 35 hours of review videos, hundreds of review questions, and oral board cases to help you become the best physiatrist that you can be. Head to pmnrrecap.com to learn more. Ultrasound Guidance is the innovative new online ultrasound learning platform that gives you instant access to expert instruction. With rapid scans and complete scans of every joint and peripheral nerve, Ultrasound Guidance is the perfect way to jumpstart your MSK ultrasound learning. Visit ultrasoundguidance.com to learn more.
All right, while Adam is getting the screen shared, I will go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Shigo Bavishi. I'm the Residency Program Director for Ohio State. I've been Residency Program Director since 2019, and it's been a really great ride. And we've done a lot with our program to improve our curriculum, our research, our leadership, and our overall rotation. So we have a very comprehensive program, which Adam will talk about in his presentation. We are a program that enrolled our first resident in 1963. So this year we get to celebrate 60 years as being, 1953, so 70 years this year. And our rehab hospital is actually celebrating 60th anniversary this year. So we're very excited for this 2023 season. I will be managing the chat box. So if anyone has questions that they put in the chat during Adam's presentation, I will answer those questions as quickly as I possibly can. And then we'll stay on for a few minutes after to answer any lingering questions as well. So I'll turn it over to Adam.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So my name is Adam Given, one of the fourth years at Ohio State, also the recruitment chief this year. So I want to give a shout out to PM&R Scholars for putting this on. Thank you very much. And also thank you to everyone for tuning in. I think we got like 40 or 40 some people, 45 people here. So like Dr. Bavishi said, if you guys have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat and we will try to answer them at the end. We'll save about 5 minutes for a Q&A. But I do kind of want to just get through some of the highlights of our program and kind of walk you guys through some stuff. So just kind of a broad overview, like she mentioned, established, I thought it was in the 60s, but apparently it was 1953. So very historical program, which is good because that means we have a lot of alumni across the country. So networking is very easy within our field. Also, both the program and usually the rehab hospital ranked within the top quartile of programs, which is awesome. For our program, we have 7 residents per year. So that is divvied up into 3 categorical positions and 4 advanced positions. So the categorical spots will be individuals who do their intern year also at Ohio State with the internal medicine department, whereas the advanced positions would be individuals that do an intern year elsewhere and then matriculate starting at PGY 2 year, which is actually what I did when I came to Ohio State. And something just to note, because I think we have kind of a broad spectrum here of students probably across all years, but the categorical positions at our program, you don't actually have to have a separate internal medicine prelim interview, which is nice. So your interview with our program kind of acts as that prelim medicine year, and then you can rank both spots on your rank list. So that covers sort of the residents and the residency, but we also then have about 35 faculty members that are within our PM&R department. So rotation schedule, this is kind of a big thing, obviously. This is what you guys want to do is rehab. So we're kind of lucky in the sense that most of our inpatient months are front loaded. However, they're not all within the first year that you get there as a PGY2. So it's almost broken, maybe about 60%, 40% between years 2 and 3 with your core inpatient rotations. The other ones you're going to do as a second year would be a couple consult blocks, and then also an outpatient, just like a clinic block, which is really good for people who may not want to do just necessarily inpatient rehab, but might want to do things such as, interventional spine, sports, maybe some outpatient musculoskeletal things. So we get a lot of experience in the procedure suites and also with spasticity and Botox as a second year, which is really nice. And then moving on to your third year, you have a few months of inpatient rehab. So spinal cord injury specifically will be that year, as well as a cancer rehab. So we do have our own cancer rehab service at the rehab hospital, which is fairly unique and something that's kind of an up and coming field. And then as a 3, you're also going to start focusing on EMGs, electromyography. You also then get to rotate through sports medicine clinics and then subspecialty clinics to sort of further your exposure to procedure suites with interventional pain and spine, and then also some like TBI follow-ups, SCI follow-ups, things like that. And then you also do an outpatient pediatric rehab rotation for 2 months. And then as a 4, so we do get to rotate at a community rehab hospital. Ours is called Mount Carmel. It's through the Encompass company, if you guys have heard of that. And this is nice because as a 4, like for me, I want to do inpatient rehab. And so it'll help me kind of brush up on my skills for that. And it's also a little bit of a different variety of rehab, being that it's a community place and not necessarily the academic inpatient rehab that we have at Ohio State. So that covers that. And then again, a lot of PGY 4-year will be focused on EMGs. And we also get a pretty good experience with ultrasound. One of our faculty members, his name's Dr. Jeff Strakowski. He actually he's on his 2nd edition of a musculoskeletal ultrasound book. So he does a lot of diagnostic musculoskeletal and nerve ultrasound, which is really cool to have someone like that and be able to follow from them. And then the rest of it is primarily outpatient and clinic based. So again, just getting all those subspecialties in and rotating through the various clinics. In terms of our call schedule, so this is something that most programs will probably talk about. Ours is a home call schedule, which I really enjoyed when I was a 2 and a 3, being the one having to do this. So what that means is when you're on an inpatient rotation, so at our primary rehab hospital, it's called Dodd Hall. When you're a 2 and a 3, you will be on call 1 day a week, but you're at home while you're taking calls. So all you have to do is answer your pager and kind of respond via your cell phone or remote access on the computer. And then as a PGY 2, you're going to be on call about 1 weekend a month. As a PGY 3, you're on call about 1 weekend every 2 months. And then as a PGY 4, which I am right now, we don't have any call. I mean, no primary call and no holidays either, which is awesome. So you put in the work kind of early on when you're there, and then it gets easier as you go through, which is awesome. So in terms of didactics, so this is something that I really enjoy. So we have a 12-month curriculum. So that means you get to see the same lectures 3 times in a row for all 3 years, which is great. All of our lectures most of them are virtual and all of them are recorded. We do lectures 4 days a week. So it's an hour every morning, which I think is great because depending on your rotation, if you're on an outpatient rotation, you can wake up, make your breakfast, grab a cup of coffee and kind of sit at home while you get ready and watch your lecture and then head into your sites after that. We also have monthly case conferences and journal clubs. And then the various courses that we kind of rotate through, we've got them listed here, but we hit all of the main highlights and all the important things within our field. So neuro, we've got general, there's pain, pediatrics, neuromuscular EMG, and then also a prosthetics and orthotics course. That leads us into sort of some other things. So upon graduation, obviously everyone's going to be board eligible with the goal of becoming board certified. So to do that, you take both the written board exams and then later on the oral exams. Over the last 5 years, our board pass rate has been 100%. And over the last 30, it's right up at like 98, 99%. So all that to say that our didactics do prepare you very well for boards and beyond. In terms of just some like specific designations, a little bit getting into the weeds here in terms of our rehab hospital specifically, but we are a TBI model system, of which there, at the time when this was put together, only 16 across the US, which is pretty cool. And also a neuro recovery network site for spinal cord and research. So there's 6 of those. And then all of our primary services are CARF accredited, which is sort of a quality standard that is met through the accreditation of rehab facilities. So each of the 5 primary services at Dodd, which is our inpatient rehab facility, is CARF accredited, which again is just a quality metric that you'll see. There we go. So in terms of fellowships, Ohio State, being a large academic tertiary center, has quite a few fellowships. So we have interventional pain through the Department of Anesthesia, but they welcome PM&R applicants. And this year they actually just increased the number of spots from 2 to 4. So kind of doubling that. We also have a pediatric rehab fellowship. And then there's a non-PM&R sports. So that's through the family medicine department. There's a neuromuscular fellowship through neurology. And then we also have a cancer rehab fellowship, which is part of inpatient and outpatient cancer rehab at Ohio State. In terms of kind of where you go for the various sites, so a lot of them will be on campus, which is kind of in this Grandview Heights area. And the farthest one away is one site as a PGY4. We go up to Westerville for our Mount Carmel rotation. But most of the sites are within about a 10-minute drive of each other. And it's kind of weird, but I will say the infrastructure in Columbus is super easy and simple, and it's really, really easy to get around. You just kind of buzz up one of these interstates and you're there in no time. So that's been awesome. In terms of things to do, so I know Columbus and Ohio in general is probably relatively flat, but we do have really good metro park systems. There's a lot of woods, a lot of trails to go walking and hiking on. So that's really cool. A lot of our residents like to take their dogs out on walks and things like that. Columbus has a really big food scene, which I actually wasn't aware of when I first came. But ironically, Guy Fieri was born in Columbus. And I think back in 2020, there was a petition to try to rename the town Flavortown just based on him and his following. So I thought that was kind of funny. And then if anyone is familiar with Jenny's Ice Cream, that's also based out of Columbus, Ohio. So don't sleep on the food. It is awesome. Another big thing, obviously, is sports. So Ohio State, we have the Buckeyes. The Buckeyes, Big Ten football, Big Ten basketball. As residents, we're considered faculty, so we get discounted tickets, season tickets to whatever Buckeye sporting event you want. And I actually went to the Michigan-Ohio State football game last year, which is one of the biggest rivalries in college football. Unfortunately, we got whomped, but the atmosphere was incredible. Had such a great time, so that's been a lot of fun. And then we also have professional and semi-professional teams. So the Columbus Clippers is our AAA baseball team. The Columbus Crew, which is one of the founding teams of the MLS. We actually won the MLS Cup as recently as 2020, which is awesome, but it was also the COVID year, so there was no fans in the stadium. But we still won it, which was cool. Got to watch that on TV. And then the Blue Jackets is our professional hockey team. So I think that's about it. Spent about 15 minutes. Here's our contact info for both myself and Dr. Babishi. If you guys do have any questions or thoughts or comments after this, but now we will kind of open it up to the floor and see if you guys have any questions here.
So one thing I added in the chat for our didactics, we also have a career development course where quite a few of our faculty have MBAs as well. And so they give courses on contract negotiation and, career development. We also have a DEI course as well, where we talk about healthcare disparities. And then with our vice chair of diversity, and then our vice chair of research has also been improving our research curriculum and didactics. So the question that was in the chat about non-PM&R Sports Med Fellowship, it means that it's actually family practice based. So it's a family practice. The family medicine group has the sports medicine fellowship, but they take PM&R residents for application. So that's what we mean by non-PM&R. So it's not a PM&R based sports medicine fellowship, it's family medicine. And then we also have Nationwide Children's has a pediatric sports medicine as well, and they take PM&R residents as well. Do we accept U.S. international medical grads? Yes, we do. We currently don't have any U.S. international medical grads, but we do have an international medical grad right now as one of our PGY2s. So Adam, if you want to take that one, what kinds of things do residents like to do together outside of clinical duties?
So we hang out a lot. We go to a lot of sporting events, crew games, Blue Jackets games, things like that. We also have happy hours almost, it seems like once a week. So we'll go to usually a different brewery here in town, and we have yet to go to the same brewery twice. There are so many around Columbus. Usually in the summer, we'll go to outdoor sort of patios and hang out there. We also have an intramural resident volleyball team that plays on Friday nights. So if anyone's interested or loves to play volleyball, you'll fit right in. Some other things, we put on a yard games once a year in the summer, usually as kind of an orientation thing. So we play just a bunch of different yard games. Everyone comes out, brings their pets, significant others, families, things like that. We do cookouts a couple times a year. I think actually one of our residents just had a cookout on Sunday. So that was a lot of fun. But yeah, we actually do hang out quite a bit outside of work and things like that. So we're all friends, which is awesome.
And we have an annual faculty resident volleyball game, which unfortunately the faculty has lost 3 years in a row, but we are going to win this year, I swear. And then there was a question in the chat about, do we value applicants with ties to the region versus signals and geographic preference? And both, actually. We look at residents from all over. We actually have residents that are from all over the country. So we don't only look at region, but we are using the signaling system, and we do evaluate that as well during the application season. So other questions? I know we have a few minutes. So other things that kind of, from my standpoint as a program director, everyone's always asking, what are you looking for in residents? And really as Adam said, our residents have a lot of camaraderie. They have a really great team. And so really the primary thing that I look for in residents or applicants is who's going to get along with our program, who's going to be part of our team, who's really going to mesh with our personality and our residents. As PM&R gets much more competitive, we recognize that there's a lot more push towards, and obviously we don't look at, board scores and things as much anymore because we don't have them. But, we really look at who's a leader, who's done, some extracurricular things, who's got, more of a well-rounded application, but also, looking at applicants that are really going to fit our personality. And then the question in the chat about adaptive sports opportunities. Yes, we do. Dr. Napolitano is one of our pediatric sports medicine physiatrists, and he is actually one of our faculty, and he actually runs the entire Columbus Adaptive Sports Leagues. And so there are a lot of opportunities for our residents to get involved in adaptive sports. We have amputee soccer, we have sled hockey, adaptive rowing, rugby, just to name a few. And then
we're at about 4 minutes left.
Okay, and then there's a question in chat about favor USMLE over Comlex. No, they are equal in our eyes. I am an osteopath myself, so you do not. If you are an osteopath, and you take the Comlex, you do not have to take the USMLE. They are equal in our eyes. Are there opportunities to work with performers like dancers? Yes. So one of our researchers is actually. She's got her PhD in biomechanics, but her undergraduate degree is in dance. And so a lot of her research, Dr. Worthen Chowdhury's research, focuses on dance in rehab. So yes, there are a lot of opportunities to work with performers. And then someone's saying, consider IMG candidates with with a year, like a gap of more than 5 years. We actually do, if someone is an IMG that has a gap of more than 5 years, we do request that they do a repeat intern year, because we've had our current international medical grad did have a gap of clinical time for 5 years, and we requested that he did a repeat intern year in our categorical program. Internal medicine, I have research experience with infectious disease. Okay, thanks. Are there perks and benefits such as medical, dental? Yes. So the perks at Ohio State are huge, and Adam's actually one of our biggest proponents of all of our perks here at Ohio State. Ohio State has its own health plan, and including dental, vision, and then there is our matching for 401ks is 14%, and as a resident, you also get to match it that way. So there's a lot of that. There's also opportunities for supplemental as well, 403Bs, and then additional as your faculty as well. So lots of opportunities, lots of other benefits, being an Ohio State employee, lots of discounts around the city for different locations like the zoo and like our science centers and things. And like Adam said, discounts on tickets for the Buckeyes. And so there's lots of benefits for being an Ohio State employee for sure. I think I covered them all. And then where have alumni gone in recent years? So we have had alumni that have gone, it's kind of 50-50 the last few years about paying fellowships. So we've had about 2 to 3 residents per year graduating, gone on to paying fellowships at UC Davis, George Washington, Vanderbilt, to name a few of the locations that they've gone on for paying fellowships, and of course here at Ohio State. And then we've had residents go off to in the past TBI, SCI, and sports medicine fellowships as well. This past 2 years, we haven't had anybody interested in any of those, but and then we also have residents that go straight into practice. And so a lot of our residents that go straight into practice do multiple different things, either inpatient rehab, outpatient, private practice, skilled nursing facility, consults. So our residents are very broad with what they do. And because of the broad experience they get, they feel like they can graduate and, go straight into practice in any field or any location. So
About 1 minute.
okay. And is there any preference for candidates that are from Ohio or nearby states? There's not a higher preference. We all candidates to us are equal. So we don't just look at region for our candidates or our applicants. All right. Was there anything else, Adam, that I forgot from our benefits or anything?
No, I think you did a great job. Yeah, great benefits being at Ohio State, especially the 401k match, like she mentioned, but just want to echo that. It's up to 14%, which is phenomenal. Bunch of free money. So, and there's no vesting period either. So the 3 years that I'm here, I get all the money that Ohio State put in there, which is great.
Yeah. And there's HRA, and then there's this new lifestyle spending account, which every quarter I get $125. And like last quarter, I bought yoga pants. Like, it's crazy what you can buy with your lifestyle spending account. So, and it's $125 of free money too every quarter. So it's really nice. And residents have access to all of those benefits.
Thank you all so much. I really appreciate the great presentation.
Thank you. And we'll stay on for a couple of minutes if anyone has any more questions.